Hello, welcome to the Managing Drought in the Southern Plains webinar series. This is brought to you by the Southern Climate Impacts Planning Program, NOAA, National Integrated Drought Information System, and the National Drought Mitigation Center. We have full webinars that we conduct approximately once a month that have more details. This is a short briefing to give you an idea of what's going on around the region. So here's what's new this week. The improvements have continued in the south central U.S., while there's worsening conditions out in the west. We've also seen a reemergence of drought in the upper Midwest in the last couple of weeks. It's having some impacts, it looks like, on the corn and soybean crop outlooks as well. What we see going forward is these warm, dry conditions that have set up in the last few days across the southern plains to continue for the next couple of weeks, feeling a little bit more like summer. But there are still some chances for improvement in New Mexico, eastern Texas, and but probably persistence of drought in other parts of the country. So the drought monitor this week looks it's getting a little bit better as we go along, and we see a little bit less red in the middle part of the country. You can see that emergence of the drought up into Iowa, Minnesota, and northern Missouri as well, and there's some drought has reemerged in southern Arkansas and Louisiana, but a little bit less red as we look into the core part of the area in New Mexico and Texas, Oklahoma. So lots of improvement regionally. This is a comparison from a month ago when you saw a lot of deep reds there, the D4 or exceptional drought across New Mexico, Colorado, Kansas, parts of Oklahoma, and Texas. A lot less of that area right now, and spotty drought, extreme drought across Texas. Not too much left in Oklahoma and large part of Kansas. Over the past month, what we've seen in Oklahoma is that drought in the western part has finally improved. We'd had pretty good rains in the spring and early summer across central part of Oklahoma, leaving that hole. We've had more that's erased the drought in the eastern part and also caused quite a bit of improvements now in western part. You can see only less than about 0.5% of drought of the area of Oklahoma is in exceptional drought compared to about 4% a month ago, and the total area of drought is about half of what it was a month ago. In Texas, we haven't seen as much improvements in the overall drought picture, although some improvements, especially in the D4 across the Panhandle and Northwest Texas region. But elsewhere, drought is kind of held on in most places and a little bit of hit and miss kind of rainfall patterns. But still, almost 89% of the state is in some level of drought. New Mexico has shown the most improvement, although the overall drought area has not changed too much. Almost 98% of the state is still in drought, but the extreme and exceptional drought area has gone from 86% down to 49%. So it's still not a great picture when you consider that extreme drought is an improvement, but it is looking a little bit better because of the monsoon season out there. So the rainfall departures, what we've seen is that monsoon in the southwest has really helped out in New Mexico, particularly in the Texas Panhandle in the last 14 to 60 days. Beyond that, you see a lot of the dry areas showing up a lot more into Texas, and some of the rain signature in New Mexico fading away. But it has been pretty good year to date in parts of New Mexico, particularly southern New Mexico, and then Oklahoma and Kansas and eastward. You can also see that reemergence of the drought now in California and up in Idaho, where they're having some serious wildfire issues. In the next 5 days, we see continued warm and dry conditions. The red lines on the upper right panel indicating above normal temperatures across the northern plains, kind of showing that summer pattern is coming back into play. And dry conditions around that area. It looks like it could be some active weather along the Gulf Coast, and the monsoon still continuing a little bit further to the west in Arizona this time for the next few days. As we look out beyond this week, we still see that monsoon signature out in Arizona and maybe a little bit of relief into California, Nevada, and hopefully it'll get its way up into Idaho. But around here it looks pretty dry across Texas, New Mexico, and Oklahoma, and very warm across especially the western U.S. Looking into a little further, September, October, November, this is the Climate Prediction Center's outlook that came out last week, August 15th, and it shows, again, warm conditions through the fall in the southwest as well as the northeast, equal chances elsewhere, so that means that there's really no clear signal as to whether it'll be warm or cool across most of the country. And in the precipitation in the lower right, What's amazing here is there's no brown areas, so there's no areas that the Climate Prediction Center expects dry conditions to really be persistent through this fall. And there are some areas of rainfall expected across the Midwest that will help ease some of that developing drought conditions as well. The drought outlook, also released last week, shows that improvement with the monsoon continuing into New Mexico and across the Texas Panhandle, as well as that area of rainfall that was expected further to the east. Although it looks like persistence is in store for the drought in most of Texas, as well as across most of the West. So we still have a ways to go, but at least the last month and the summer really has been surprisingly helpful for us. So we have these briefings posted weekly on the SCIP website, southernclimate.org, as well as our webinars and a number of other sources with our partners with the Drought Mitigation Center. Remember, we do need to hear what's going on actually on the ground, so please tell us your impacts. You can send those to the droughtreporter.unl.edu, or you can email us at southernclimate.org, and we'd be happy to relay them for you. So we appreciate your participation in this and hope you have a good week. Thank you.